So Danielle, I have to know,
Yes.
what is your best piece of advice for marketers coming up and today?
I would say test and learn with frequency. I think everybody tests and learn, but we are in an environment where the advancements are happening and the change is happening so quickly that there's not enough of that frequency of testing learning, whether it's different distribution channels, the measurements, tools that are coming out. So just test and learn with more frequency.
I love that. We touched on this a little bit, but what's impacting your work for the most positive ways for the future?
I think at Amazon, one of the things that I'm seeing, and I think it's happening across the industry, is just the fluidity and ease of safely sharing data. And so what used to take probably, several months to onboard data cleanly and safely, our tools like Amazon Marketing Cloud allows that. And so we're seeing that speed, 2 to 3 months, you're onboarded, you're in, doesn't take a lot of bandwidth from the teams, and then you're just off and running learning. So I think that fluidity and ease of safely sharing data is something that is impacting us.
So we're here at Sport Beach. We have to talk about athletes a little bit. I'm so curious. How are marketers and athletes similar, and really also how are they different creatures?
Sometimes it's hard for marketers to move and pivot so quickly. And as an athlete, you're constantly reading
Agility.
the real time. I think our business is getting so much better at being real time, performance driven optimization, but it is still challenging and you can't do it across every channel. And so I think there is a bit of difference with marketers and athletes.
I think one of the things you talked about earlier, which I love, is about the increasing role and significance of data. And I do believe that increasingly in athletics, there is more of a data mindset, a measurement mindset, an optimization mindset. And not every marketing organization has that fitness and has that kind of muscle memory. Obviously, Amazon has had and does have that. Do you find that interesting?
I do. I think it's about the accessibility, right? If you have the access to it and the accessibility to it, why would you not use it to improve your game, both as a marketer and an athlete? And because of that accessibility, like I spoke about, to the data, it's just becoming easier. And of course, you should use it to help enhance any performance.
So let's talk about innovation in AI and what is happening, what is about to happen. You're hot.
Can't not talk about innovation without talking about AI. So
Absolutely, you can't go to Cannes and not talk about AI.
Yes,
So, but when it comes to streaming sports, what's happening? Hot takes on what's about to happening. Where are we?
I mean, there's so many different ways we've been using AI at Amazon for years. It fuels our entire retail business, right? And so it is extremely native to us. When I think about streaming in sports, think about just the fact that it lends that capability for us to be as digital savvy, as tech advanced as we want, and AI being one of those tools that's easy to integrate. A great example would probably be our production teams, right? When they're putting on the Thursday night football game or they're sharing a NASCAR race, they're using AI in new ways to deliver predictability on the performance of the athletes, right? I think there was, and there still is, a yearning for stat-driven type of content around sports. We do a whole alternate stream called Prime Vision, which delivers these stat-driven, so extremely important. But it's usually based on performance of the past. And the AI tools are allowing us to be predictable and think about the performance you're about to see. So an example is we have defensive alerts in Thursday Night Football. It's an AI tool that we created that allows the quarterback, you to see the eyes from a quarterback, who's going to blitz, where they're going to blitz, what's the predictability of where they're going to go. And it's accurate almost 9 out of 10 times. And so it's really giving the fan a different experience and a different way to think about the plays in the game.
And when Amazon gets into something like streaming sports, is one of the core considerations the ability to intuitively and genuinely bring technology and innovation to the process?
So part of our rights evaluation, and when we think about approaching rights, it's could we do the sport better? What can we do to help advance it? We always need to stay core to like what the fan wants to see and make sure we're delivering that. But we have to find ways to advance it. So another great example is in NASCAR. If you're a NASCAR fan, you know there is so much strategy behind every lap. Yep. When you pit stop, when you don't, how you use your fuel, how fast you're going, all of that. And fans were never able to see how much gas is left in the tank? Are they going to have to stop? They're making a move for an upgraded spot. What's happening? You know, you hear some of the pit crew conversation, but you don't. They built an AI tool that now, based on all of our partnerships with all the different auto companies, with NASCAR and their data, with our data, we were able, and the track data, we were able to understand how much gas is probably left in the tank, and so what should we expect them to do? And so you have this fuel gauge going for every driver on the screen the whole time. So it's just enhancing that experience, and we know it's working. I mean, after our first race of NASCAR, just the outpour of, I'm so excited, the way Amazon approached it, I really felt like a fan. They were thinking about me. It wasn't just about putting on another sport. And so we're really proud. We always have to make the sport better.
I will also say, and this is unscripted, hat tip, because I think that there, as a consequence of some of the things that Amazon is doing and the direction that sport is moving, there is a generation of girls and boys who are way more data literate and way more fluent in technology. And it's, you know, I love STEM, and it's conditioning, hiding STEM principles in a thing we love like fandom and sports, and that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. It's just great to see the reaction. And listen, there's things we're going to test that may not work, but then we pivot, right? And so it's always about being obsessed with the customer and how can we serve the customer in a better way. So all of these AI tools are helping that.
So what is your best advice for brands and how you think they should be approaching storytelling when it comes to content creation during sports seasons and even kind of stepping into arenas like a fandom that they don't normally participate in?
Yeah, I think there's so much pull for attention, right? And the distribution even of sports, you know, you've seen leagues go from 4 to 7 partners, from 2 to 4 partners. And so there's this pull for attention that's happening. And I think it's really important for an advertiser or a brand to have continuity of messaging, whether it's across sport, it's across seasons, within the sport, just that continuity across your creative, and then the thematics that you're partnering on, you know, to kind of drive the marketing message. It's extremely important to find that connectivity across the seasons and across the sports.
I love it. Do you find that like there is such a broader diversity and almost ubiquity of content because athletes are now content creators, because every individual fan is a content creator, because brands are just competing with anyone with a phone, anyone with an imagination?
I think it's great. Like, I think about the things that we're doing on Wondery with Mind the Game or the Kelsey brothers. I'm thinking about, you know, even NASCAR. There was no NASCAR post race that ever existed. We delivered the first one, and fans want it. So I think it's okay that we're building all of this content. I think it's great that we're building all this content. And either you're going to know very quickly whether there's a need and a desire for it from fans, or if there's not. You know, I use the example of on Thursday Night Football, we launched something called Nightcap. Traditionally, what happens is after every, you know, primetime game, you break right for local news.
Yeah.
We didn't have to break because we were a streaming service, and so we started to deliver additional content and a Nightcap where it was, you know, all of our talent bringing fans right off, being athletes right off the field and engaging with them, and almost creating like an MVP of the game and a chalk talk with them after the game, breaking it down. And sure enough, we just slowly start to see this spike where at 11 o'clock at night, we are driving the highest ratings, higher than some primetime cable. And so, you know, if the content's right, you'll find the audience for it, and if it's not, you pivot. And so I think it's okay that this is happening. I think we're exploring. This is the change I was talking about, that marketers have to test and learn with more frequency because of it.
The interesting thing about, or the unique thing about sports and fandom is that there are all sorts of emergent and organic behaviors that surround it, both in consumption but also in you know, distribution and publishing. One of my favorites, I'm a big video game guy for my sins. One of my favorite things that I realized that I had always done, but it turns out a lot of people do, is before watching a soccer game, I will play on FIFA those teams together, and if my team and I'm not going to name it now, but if my team wins, I will replay the game, and if they lose, I will hate replay the game. And so like there's this huge spike of certain sports, and football's the same thing. Madden sees tremendous spikes in usage right before the Super Bowl, and then sees tremendous spikes in usage right after the Super Bowl. And if you just follow the data,
and that's the connectivity of the messaging across those different screens for you, right? Like if you saw that same message or a contextually relevant sequencing of that message as a fan, you would take notice of it, right? And so I think that just proves even more why it's so important to test and learn across so many different platforms.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
the
you.
time.